Ladies and gentlemen, friends, dreamers, warriors of life, listen to me closely. There comes a moment in every person's life when they hit a wall. A moment when you're tired, worn out, beaten down. A moment when the weight of the world seems heavier than your strength. When the odds seem stacked so high, they block out the sun. Maybe you're in that moment right now. Maybe you've cried yourself to sleep at night, wondering if it's even worth it to keep going. Maybe you've tried and failed so many times that your hope is whispering, why bother? Maybe people have walked out on you. Maybe you've lost money, opportunities, relationships. Maybe life has knocked you flat on your back. But I came here today to tell you something that you need to remember when you're in that dark place. You can't give up. I know what you're thinking, but you don't know what I'm going through. You're right. I don't. But I do know this. Every single person who has ever done something great, who has ever changed the world, who has ever made their dream real, they all had a moment when they wanted to quit, but they didn't. And neither can you. You see, life will test you. It's supposed to. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to fight for. It gives you what you're willing to bleed for. Life gives you what you're willing to earn through sweat, sacrifice, and relentless persistence. I remember a man who had nothing but a dream. He had no college degree. He had no connections. He had no money, but he had a fire. He had a vision of what his life could be. And so he worked harder than anyone around him. He stayed up late while others slept. He studied while others partied. He got knocked down again and again, but he got back up every single time. One day, someone asked him, why do you just give up? And you know what he said? Because I'm already in pain. If I quit now, I'll still be in pain, but it will be for nothing. I'd rather suffer for a purpose than quit for nothing. That man is not special. He's just like you, like me, like every human being who ever dared to want more. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide right now that no matter what, you're going to keep going, that you will not let fear or failure or fatigue stop you. Because let me tell you something, your dream is worth it. I remember a man who had nothing but a dream. He had no college degree. He had no connections. He had no money, but he had a fire. He had a vision of what his life could be. And so he worked harder than anyone around him. He stayed up late while others slept. He studied while others partied. He got knocked down again and again, but he got back up every single time. One day, someone asked him, why don't you just give up? He said, where do you give up? And you know what he said? Because I'm already in pain. If I quit now, I'll still be in pain, but it will be for nothing. I'd rather suffer for a purpose than quit for nothing. That man is not special. He's just like you, like me, like every human being who ever dared to want more. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide right now that no matter what, you will not let fear or failure or fatigue stop you. Because let me tell you something. Your dream is worth it. I know some of you have heard no more times than you can count. Some of you have had doors slammed in your face. Some of you have tried and gotten nowhere. But rejection is not the end, it's redirection. Failure is not defeat, it's feedback. Every no you hear, every setback you face, every mistake you make, it's all part of the process. Every champion was once a contender who refused to quit. You might be struggling right now. You might be broke. You might be alone. But this is not where your story ends. This is just a chapter, and you get to decide how it ends. You have power in you that you haven't even tapped into yet. You have strength that hasn't been awakened. You have a fire that's waiting to be lit. But you've got to make a decision. You've got to decide that you are not going to give up. You've got to decide that you're going to keep showing up even when you're tired, that you'll keep believing even when it's hard, that you'll keep pushing even when progress is slow, because one day, yes, one day, it will all come together. One day the sacrifices will make sense. One day the doors will open. One day the people who doubted you will have no choice but to respect you. One day you'll look back at this season, the tears, the heartbreak, the struggle, and you'll say, thank God I didn't give up. You can't give up because somebody is counting on you. Your children are watching. Your family needs your strength. Someone out there is waiting to hear your story, to be inspired by your journey, to find hope in your survival. You're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for every soul that will be touched by your victory. So if you're tired, rest, but don't you dare quit. If you fail, learn, but don't you dare give up. If you're scared, pray. But don't you let fear decide your future. You're still breathing. You're still here. That means your purpose is still alive. Your dream is still alive. It may be buried under some pain, under some doubt, under some fear, but it's alive. And as long as it's alive, you have a chance. So rise up, speak life over yourself. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I'm built for this. I've made it through worse, and I'm not stopping now. You've come too far. You've invested too much. You've survived too many storms to throw in the towel now. This is your time, your season, your story. Don't you give up. Pain is a universal language. Everyone experiences it, physically, emotionally, mentally. It shows up in different ways: disappointment, betrayal, failure, heartbreak, exhaustion. But no matter how it shows up, pain always carries a message. And one of the loudest messages it carries is this: stop. This hurts. Give up. Pain will try to convince you that quitting is the only way out, that walking away is easier, that it's not worth the fight, that you've reached your limit. But let me tell you something real. Pain is temporary. It doesn't feel that way when you're in the middle of it. When you're crying yourself to sleep at night, when you're waking up with anxiety, when you're pushing forward and getting nothing in return, it feels like the pain is permanent, like it's going to last forever. But it doesn't. Pain has an expiration date. It might last for a season. It might drag on longer than you hoped. But if you keep showing up, if you keep going, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, pain will lose its grip. It will pass. You'll grow stronger. You'll heal. You'll rise. Quitting, though, that lasts forever. When you give up, you plant a seed of regret that doesn't go away easily. You start to carry the what if on your back. What if I had kept going? What if I had held on a little longer? What if I was just one step away from the breakthrough? Those questions will follow you. They echo in the quiet moments. They haunt you when you see someone else doing what you gave up on. Quitting might bring immediate relief, but it brings long-term pain because it cuts off your future. It buries your potential. It silences your progress. Pain is part of the process. Growth hurts. Change hurts. Getting better hurts. When muscles are being built, they tear. When bones heal, there's soreness. When a seed breaks the ground, it doesn't look pretty. It pushes through dirt and darkness, and you are no different. When you're building a life, a career, a dream, a legacy, there will be discomfort. There will be sacrifice. There will be days when you don't want to move, when everything in you screams to quit. But those are the days that define you. Those are the days where champions are made. Most people quit not because they lack talent or resources, but because they can't endure the pain. But if you can outlast the pain, if you can endure it instead of escaping, if you can push through it instead of giving into it, you'll reach something greater on the other side. Strength, wisdom, success, self-respect. You'll become someone who didn't fold under pressure. Someone who stood in the storm and stayed standing. That's power. That's legacy. The most successful people in the world have felt intense pain, but they chose to use it. They didn't run from it. They didn't numb it. They didn't numb it. They didn't avoid it. They faced it, embraced it, and turned it into purpose. They understood that pain is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's the fire that refines you, the weight that builds your character, the pressure that reveals your true strength. Pain will try to break you, but you have the final say. You can decide that it will build you instead. Struggle is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're trying, that you're moving, that you're refusing to settle for less. Struggle means you're reaching beyond comfort, beyond safety, beyond average. And in that space where nothing is easy, where nothing comes guaranteed, is exactly where your strength is born. You can't become strong without going through something that demands strength. You can't develop resilience without in the struggle that your true power starts to surface. People want strength, but they don't want the process. They want the confidence, the courage, the breakthrough, but they don't want the nights of doubt, the tears, the setbacks, the silence. But the process is necessary. There is no shortcut around struggle. There is no elevator to strength. You have to take the stairs one painful, determined step at a time. The road will be rough. You'll question yourself. You'll doubt your worth. You'll wonder if it's all worth it. But those are the exact moments where your character is being carved. Your struggle is shaping you, preparing you for the weight of the dream you're chasing. Without struggle, strength has no reason to rise. Think about anyone you admire, anyone who inspires you, and you will find a story of struggle behind their success. You will find a fight behind their triumph. It's not the comfort that shaped them. It was the chaos, the heartbreak, the rejection, the failure. It was in those moments where they learned what they were truly made of. And the same is true for you. Every struggle you go through is an invitation to discover a deeper version of yourself. Struggle reveals things that comfort hides. It exposes your fears, your limitations, your excuses, but it also reveals your courage, your grit, your passion. Struggle strips away the surface and shows you what you're really made of. You'll never know how strong you are until strong is the only option. You'll never know how much fire is in you until you're walking through the furnace. And when you come out the other side, you'll carry a strength that isn't based on what others say about you, but on what you've survived, what you've overcome, what you've built with your own hands. There's a difference between people who only look strong and those who are strong. The real strength comes from lived experience, from the times you had to keep going without applause, from the days you pushed forward with nothing but faith, from the nights you held your own heart together. That's real strength. The kind that can't be faked, the kind that can't be bought, the kind that struggle forges in silence. You may not see the purpose in the middle of the struggle. It may feel unfair, overwhelming, pointless, but the strength it's building in you is not just for today. It's for everything that's coming next. It's for the people you'll impact, the storms you'll face later, the life you're being prepared to lead. Your struggle is not just about your survival, it's about your transformation. You're becoming something more, something wiser, something tougher, something unstoppable. The struggle will challenge you in ways you never imagined. It will test your patience, your faith, your endurance, but it will also introduce you to a version of yourself you've never met. One that doesn't give up, one that keeps fighting, one that understands that pressure doesn't destroy diamonds, it creates them. Life doesn't move in straight lines. It doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes it throws you off course. Sometimes it shuts doors, breaks your heart, and knocks you down in ways you never expected. And in those moments, it feels like everything is falling apart. It feels like the dream is dying. The progress is wasted. The time is lost. But what you can't see in that moment is that every setback carries the seed of a greater comeback. Setbacks are not the end of your story. They're just a pause, a reroute, a setup for something bigger. You may have been rejected, but that rejection could be pushing you toward the right opportunity. You may have failed, but that failure could be equipping you with the lessons you'll need when success shows up. Sometimes the very thing you think is ruining your life is actually saving you from settling for less. Life has a way of preparing you through pain, teaching you through trouble, and positioning you through problems. Greatness is not built in smooth seasons. It's born in the rough ones. The setbacks you face are not roadblocks. They're refining fires. They burn off the fear, the doubt, the weakness. They demand growth. They demand strength you didn't know you had. And if you choose to rise, if you choose to learn and not quit, you come back stronger. You come back wiser. You come back more focused than ever. The comeback is greater, not just because you succeed, but because of who you become in the process. Look at any comeback story and you'll see the same pattern. Fall, fight, rise. The fall is where the pain begins, where reality crashes down and everything feels uncertain. The fight is where the work happens, where you battle the doubt, the fear, the temptation to give up. And the rise, that's when you step into your power. That's when you realize that the setback didn't destroy you. It shaped you. It revealed you. It built the foundation for something greater. People who never experience setbacks often lack depth. They don't know what it's like to claw their way back from rock bottom. But you do. You've been through some things. You've had moments where you felt like giving up was easier. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still fighting. That's what makes your comeback powerful. It's not just that you win, it's that you endured when others walked away. It's that you kept going when you had every reason to stop. Setbacks will challenge your identity. They will ask you, who are you without the success? Who are you when nothing is working? And your answer, your resilience, your refusal to quit, that's what sets the stage for your comeback. Because comebacks are never about the circumstances, they're about the choice. The choice to rise when it's easier to stay down. The choice to believe in yourself when no one else does. The choice to fight for your dream, even if it's bruised and bleeding. People who never experience setbacks often lack depth. They don't know what it's like to claw their way back from rock bottom. But you do. You've been through some things. You've had moments where you felt like giving up was easier. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still fighting. That's what makes your comeback powerful. It's not just that you win, it's that you endured when others walked away. It's that you kept going when you had every reason to stop. Setbacks will challenge your identity. They will ask you, who are you without the success? Who are you when nothing is working? And your answer, your resilience, your refusal to quit, that's what sets the stage for your comeback. Because comebacks are never about the circumstances, they're about the choice. The choice to rise when it's easier to stay down. The choice to believe in yourself when no one else does. The choice to fight for your dream, even if it's bruised and bleeding. You may not have chosen a setback. You may not have seen it coming, but you get to choose what comes next. You get to decide whether this moment breaks you or builds you, whether you use it as an excuse or a reason. Every step you take after the setback is a message to the world that you're not done yet, that you still have more to give, more to prove, more to live. And when you finally make that comeback, when the doors open, when the results show up, when the vision becomes reality, it will mean more because of what you had to survive to get there. Perfection is a trap. It's the illusion that everything has to be just right before you start, before you speak up, before you try again. But if you wait for perfect, you'll wait forever. Life isn't about being flawless. It's about being faithful. It's about showing up, doing the work, and moving forward even when it's messy, even when you're unsure, even when everything isn't aligned. Because the truth is, progress doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. Persistence is the engine behind every breakthrough. It's the quiet force that keeps pushing when no one's watching. It's the voice that says, get up after every fall. While others are waiting for motivation, for the mood to strike, for everything to be comfortable, the persistent keep going. They don't rely on feelings. They rely on commitment. They don't need the perfect moment. They create it. That's the difference. That's what separates those who talk from those who build. People who win don't always have more talent. They don't always have more resources. But they refuse to give up. They get knocked down, they get discouraged, they make mistakes, but they don't stop. They keep showing up. They keep swinging. They keep pushing through resistance. And eventually, life has no choice but to give them results. That's what persistence does. It wears down the resistance. It chips away at the obstacles. It keeps the fire alive when everything around you tries to put it out. There will be days when you feel like you're not making any progress. Days when the results are invisible. Days when the voice in your head whispers, you're wasting your time. That's when persistence matters most. Anyone can keep going when things are working, but it takes real strength to keep going when nothing is. When you feel unseen, unheard, unrecognized, that's where champions are formed. That's where real growth happens. Persistence doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed. Sometimes it's trying again after failure. Sometimes it's doing the small, unseen things that no one applauds. The journey will not be clean. You'll mess up. You'll doubt yourself. You'll take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But every time you keep going, you get stronger. Every time you choose to persist instead of quit, you build something inside you that no one can take away. That strength, that mindset, that resilience, it becomes part of you. It becomes your identity. And people will see the results one day, but they'll never fully know what it took behind the scenes. They won't see the tears, the sacrifices, the long nights, the lonely days, but you'll know that you didn't wait for perfect. You didn't stop because it was hard. You pressed on. You endured. Don't let the fear of imperfection stop you from beginning. Don't let a few failures convince you that you're not capable. The people you admire are not perfect. They're persistent. They failed more times than you've even tried, but they kept going. And that's the path. That's the truth. The mountain is not climbed by leaps. You scramble. You just have to keep moving. You just have to stay in the game long enough for things to change. Persistence rewrites the story. It makes the impossible possible, not because circumstances magically change, but because you refuse to back down. You become a force. You become unshakable. You show life that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise one more time. Every great achievement begins not with perfection, but with a decision to persist.